There was a big hole in our budget, taking as much as 10% of our budget. That was the oil price stabilization fund, which was introduced by the old Marcos regime in order to stabilize the price of oil.
So the government is paying for the...
Paying and paying and paying. It kept on building up with the government spending. Why are we doing this? Making gasoline cheaper than bottled water, in the same way as the ice drop vendors of the past that were going around. They no longer exist. They've been replaced. So those who refuse to go with the times will be left behind and they will die out.
Money Masters with Chin Ki Tan.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on Chink Positive are their own and do not necessarily represent those of the producers, hosts, or network. Chink Positive is for entertainment and informational purposes only. While guests may share insights on financial and business topics, this does not imply endorsement of any products or services. Viewers should perform with their own research.
Mga ka-Money Masters! Nako mga syempre ka-Chink Positive. Today, we're joined by one of the sharpest mind in the Philippines economics and governance. Let us welcome Dr. Jesus P. Estanislao. Palakpakan naman! Come on!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Jess. Again, there are things that we can control in life and there are things that we cannot control. And one of my mentors said, the most stressful thing that can happen to you in your life is if you try to control the things you cannot. Do you agree?
Agree.
So, ito nga, nangyayari sa, again, in other countries, like, sure nga, we know about it. It's public knowledge. America, Israel, Iran. So, how does this chaos might affect and can affect or will affect the Philippines? Kahit na walang gera dito, pero affected pa rin tayo.
We're affected whether we like it or not. Because over these years, especially the past 30 years, I'm not quite sure whether you recall, when I was in government, most of our experts were coconut and sugar. And we said, this cannot be. So we opened the economy up, and so we started bringing in foreign investments. And so within 6 years, after Ramos took over and he pushed it, we were able to convert from an economy that was dependent on coconut and sugar to an economy that depended on IT equipment, technology. And right now, more than 2/3 of our exports are processing of these chips as part of the digital technology worldwide.
Yeah, people don't know that.
People don't know it, but we're no longer a sugar and coconut economy.
Yeah.
We're connected with the rest of the world.
Exactly.
So precisely because we're connected with the world, anything that will bring the world economy down will also bring us down.
Affected tayo.
We're going to be affected. Now, we're fortunate in that we have a lot of our people working outside.
Yung OFWs.
Our OFWs, they bring in more than $30 billion per year. When I joined government, our foreign debt was more than 20 billion. Now our OFWs alone are sending more than $30 billion a year to the economy. That provides a consumer society which enables Philippine production to move up. Now, our route is threefold.
Ano?
What do we do with our human resources?
Okay.
Which has been our base.
Yes.
We can do much more. Right now, we're beginning to wake up. We have a tremendous wealth in our natural resources. The only thing is that we have not been tapping out.
Exactly.
And for example, water. We can export water. We have now a Filipino invention which would enable us to have cheap electricity coming from green sources. And the third one, we better build up our financial and capital market because that becomes a base for our infrastructure, both physical, technological, and digital.
Can you educate us from a elementary level? Kasi you're an economist, di ba? Pag sinabi ng economy, it's a macro level, di ba? It's so hard to digest. Pero bring it us down to the market level. Palengke. How do you define economy in a palengke setting?
Okay. Right now, most of the Philippine products, they're standalone products. Good delicacies coming from Baguio, good delicacies coming from Pampanga, they're not connected with one another. How do you connect the dots? You can connect the dots through logistics, through all of the modern IT that has made things possible. Look, during pandemic, COVID-19, nobody could move.
Yeah.
We persuaded the Philippine Army, we had to feed Manila.
Exactly.
How do you do that? by organizing the farmers out there in Batangas and Cavite, put their products together with the army, transport those, and then organize the market in Manila. You know what we're able to do? Raise the prices for the farmers because there were no middlemen, and then bring down the prices for the consumers. That is what I call as teknolohiya by connecting the dots.
Guys, ang sinasabi ni Doc nga dito farm to road to Farm to road economy. Kasi ang mga magsasaka, nagproduce nga sila. Pero no offense meant, minsan nababarat po sila. Nababarat in the sense kasi yung mga middleman po ang kumikita. Yung bumibili, tapos nagta-transport, dinadala sa palengke. Imagine mo, saan tayo namimili ng mga vegetable? Urdaneta. 10 kilos of sayote. Ano na yan? Sa baksakan na yan, not from the farmers. 200 pesos, 10 kilos. 20 pesos kada kilo. Pero pag pumunta na sa market yan, siguro mga 40 pesos per kilo. Pero pag nasa supermarket na yan, 60 pesos per kilo. Probably the poor farmer just only got 10 pesos per kilo. So, saan napunta yung 50 pesos?
Sa middlemen.
That's the point. Yun nga So, yan ang number 1. Number 2, economy means, ang ibig sabihin, the power to purchase. Kailangan po natin maintindihan. Pag walang trabaho ang isang Juan de la Cruz, wala siyang pambili. Pag wala siyang pambili, ang mangyayari po niyan, syempre naman, wala rin, doon malulugi ang negosyo. Pag nalugi ang negosyo, wala siyang pang-hire sa tao. Pag wala siyang pang-hire sa tao, walang suswelduhin, walang pambili. So yan, is that the real cycle?
That's the poverty cycle. You explain economics better than a PhD in economics.
Pero have you took a peek in terms of what we call as the freelancing community, the work from home community? Kasi OFW nag-BPOs. Because of the pandemic, di ba, nag-work from home. And most of them or some of them realize, I can earn money while I'm working from home. Lumalakas na ba yung freelancing and work from home opportunities? Also, that also brings dollars.
That's growing and growing fast. But what we need to do is to take into account the fact that the world is changing.
Okay.
You are using AI.
Yes.
That's going to be increasingly done now. What we need to do is continuing upskilling. And the moment you have upskilling, you have the proper attitudes and work values, as well as the proper connections. You have to join a network to enable you to interact with one another economically and make sure that, in fact, you have access to financial resources, both short-term, bond market, and the capital market. That enables you to catapult yourself into a competitive enterprise that can withstand competition even coming from outside.
Grabe. I just don't know where does this man gets his ideas. A lot of people kasi are afraid because of AI. It will replace people's job. But you mentioned the solution already.
Yeah.
The solution is not to be afraid, but the solution is to adapt, adjust, and upskill.
Yes.
So what will happen, Doc? Teach us, educate us. Ano mangyayari sa mga taong ayaw mag-change, ayaw mag-upskill? What will happen?
Well, they will be left behind. In the same way as the ice drop vendors of the past that were going around, they no longer exist. They've been replaced. So those who refuse to go with the times will be left behind and they will die out. So what we need to do, the challenge for Filipinos, is to give every Filipino an opportunity to go together with the times. I do not have the skills now. Can I get those skills within 6 months? Pwede, that's very easy. And then can we organize ourselves so that there's a connection between training centers and industry?
So from your point of view, Dr. Jess, what's the biggest governance problem our country is facing and what needs urgent attention?
What we need to do is to go industry by industry. You've got to be very specific. Here, this is where we are with inefficiencies, with lack of systems, and so on and so forth. How can we pull things together so that as a system, as a Filipino, we can compete, not only bring down costs here in the Philippines, but because of our cost cutting and the technology, we're able to go and do jobs outside. That is when the Philippines become Dream Philippines. hindi kawawa. We are exporters of technology, of expertise, and of competitive industries that can do their work outside.
Grabe, no? Alam mo, yung expect kong sagot corruption. Pero, alam mo, this is really so wise. Wise in the sense, corruption, yun nga, it's not because that we want to ignore it, di ba? Pero, this is something we cannot control eh. Ang ginagawa ni Doc Jess, ito kaya nating control. Mag-produce tayo, makipag-compete tayo. Ito kaya nating control. Ayusin natin to. Parang natuto rin ako sa buhay, di ba? Pagtaas ng bilihin, di ba? Inflation, you cannot control. Like the rising of the gasoline prices right now because of the war. 4 pesos per liter. That's crazy. Unprecedented yan. Pero you know what? What you and I should control right now? Lifestyle inflation.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi your spending,
Yes, very
you can
true.
control. Diba, Doc Jess?
Hmm.
Yun yung minsan na mimiss natin eh. We always complain na tumaas ang bilihin. Diba? Tapos pataas ang sweldo ko. No. Kung tumaas ang bilihin, hindi tataas ang sweldo agad. Reality yan. Bawasan mo yung unnecessary gastos mo. Ganun
Very
din,
wise, yes.
Ganun din ba? I'm sure you did that also when you were rebuilding our nation.
Yes, yes.
Oh, cut down, no?
Cut down. For example, when I was in government, I was Secretary of Finance. There was a big hole in our budget, taking as much as 10% of our budget. That was the oil price stabilization fund, which was introduced by the old Marcos regime in order to stabilize the price of oil.
So, the government is paying for the...
Paying and paying and paying. And then when the price of oil goes down and the government is supposed to,
Collect.
nobody wanted to pay. So it kept on building up with the government spending. Why are we doing this? Making gasoline cheaper than bottled water. And we can produce bottled water here. Gasoline, we did not have any. So I removed it. Very unpopular. Fortunately, I had the support of the president.
Sinong president yun?
Si Cory.
Okay, okay.
We're
Okay.
willing to bite a bullet. And within 2 years or 3 years, we're able to bring the Philippine government finance from continuing deficit into surplus.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It could be done
Amazing yan. Amazing yan.
by lifestyle change,
Mm,
cutting unnecessary expenses in government.
yeah. And talking about that, you have a vision for our country. First, what's the vision? And then, number 2, where are you right now at your journey?
Okay. We would like a Philippines in 2046 to be able to face the rest of the world and tell the world and tell all Filipinos. We've been an independent country for 100 years. We started as a war-devastated country. Now, this economy is among the top 15 in the world. We're about 27, 28 right now. We can bring it down to top 15 in terms of GDP. Now, how are we going to be able to do that? Not by over-reliance on the United States and whatever have you. We'll continue to deal with them, but we'll rely more on what our people can earn, what we can earn from our natural resources, and who can get the capital resource mainly from within through savings of Filipinos, so that in fact we can finance our infrastructure. And in the process of doing that, we can keep on generating income which is going to be higher and higher with better facilities, more competitive, and we can therefore sustain our economic development. Do we grow only at 6%? That's not good enough.
What's the target?
We should be able to grow anywhere at 8 to 10% per year.
Wow.
Yes, and if we do that only up to 2046, we'll be among the top 15
Yeah.
economies of the world.
Alam mo sinasabi ni Doc Jess, sana maintindihan po natin. We create our own, we produce our own, we manufacture our own. It's called self-sufficiency. Alam nyo mga kapatid, lalo na mga kababayan nating mga OFWs, may nagsakripisyo sa inyong pamilya para mag-ibang bansa na para stopgap na magpadala ng pera dito para matulungan tayo, para makabangon. Pero sikapin po natin na maging self-sufficient din po tayo habang sila ay nagpapadala po ng pera dito. Bakit po? Kasi kung hindi tayo naging self-sufficient at naging dependent tayo sa pinadala niyong kamag-anak na OFW para kumita ng pera, ang ibig sabihin po niyan, habang buhay na kailangan po siya na ay kumita para may maipadala. So in other words, hindi tayo makakabangon, hindi tayo tatayo sa ating sariling paa. Yun ang sinasabi rin ni Dr. Jess, tama? That our country should not be dependent only, again, it's not because we're going to alienate and close doors. We cannot do that. Pero kailangan, yung mahalin natin yung sariling produkto, di ba? I-patronize natin kung ano meron tayo. Mag-create tayo from our natural resources. At napakayaman ng ating bansa na ini-exploit po ng mga ibang bansa ang ating natural resources at silang nakikinabang. Pero pag tayo naging self-sufficient one day, do you believe your vision of 2046 will come to pass? So, Doc, in your opinion, how should we as Filipinos here contribute to nation building? Paano tayo makakatulong?
Very simple. Many of us are working in corporations as well as public sector institutions. Now, we are doing everything we can to make sure that public sector institutions are relatively free of corruption and high levels of public service. Same thing would be true with private corporations. By the way, business also has to do its job. And that's why we have the Institute of Corporate Directors.
Okay, yung ICT.
Yeah.
What does it represent?
So what we're saying is that Philippine corporations cannot be governed according to standards lower than the rest of the world. So we have to have corporate governance practices that are in line with best practices all over. And
Parang
you know
good
what?
governance na rin yun, di ba?
Oh, and you know what? When we started, maybe our score was 50 out of 100. Now, with the ASEAN Corporate Governance Scorecard, you have more than 20 Philippine publicly listed companies that are directly competitive with the best in ASEAN.
Wow.
That's a start. Now, instead of having 2025, why can't we have 100 Philippine corporations at that same level?
Wow.
In which case, then, you have a very good corporate sector that will abide by this, that consistent with the standards observed by the New York Stock Exchange.
Alam mo, Doc, di ba, parang looking at a model country, probably one of the model country that I personally see is Singapore. Di ba? I'm sure you've been to Singapore, you've known of Lee Kuan Yew. Di ba? How can a nation as small as Quezon City, with no natural resources, can be as progressive as they are?
They had good public governance with a long-term vision. They trade. You know how they elected the latest prime minister?
How?
Wow. Sent him to Harvard, sent him to Oxford, made him a minister of 2 or 3. And then before he finally got appointed, they had the International Criminal Court check whether in fact there was any record or complaint against him.
Wow. Lifestyle check and background check.
Yeah. It's global. And instead of fighting against the ICC, against all of these global institutions, work with them and lift yourself up according to the standards. Instead of saying, oh, terrible, ICC, kami ang Filipino, kayo, you're foreign, you're interfering with our politics. That's not the way. If you want to be Singapore, do what the Singaporeans do. Good public governance, long-term vision. Lee Kuan Yew had a very clear thing. When he took over as Prime Minister of Singapore, the Brits got out of Singapore. They abandoned. And so what do? No more income. He converted Singapore into an export processing zone.
Yeah,
Entire.
EPSA, no? Parang naging EPSA siya.
Yes.
Grabe, no?
And within 15 years, he got it done.
Yeah, again, ang ginawa na naman niya, self-sufficiency na naman sa nation.
Yes. Clean government. That's
Yeah.
all.
Doc Jess, you talk about life, faith, compassion, patriotism. How can leaders right now live these values in their everyday decision?
We do not have to look far. We have our law, which says there are 4 core values.
Ano po?
Magka-Diyos, magka-tao, magkakalikasan, magkabansa.
Okay.
I think those are great values. Magka-Diyos. So, you have to have moral, ethical standards because you're magka-Diyos. Magka-tao, you have to care about people. And not just serve your pocket, but are we serving the needs and hopes and aspirations of the ordinary people? That is what magka-tao is. Magkakalikasan. Are you smart as a caretaker of our natural resource? Makabansa. Do you show love and respect for the country? Now, if we do this, bring it into our work, bring it into our life, we're Dream Philippines.
Shout out sa DepEd po. Kung pwede isama lang po naman to sa ano lang, as core pillar of every Filipino, I think it should start from the young.
There, yes. And that's why we're working with the school districts. It's amazing. The school district of Tarlac and now Region 3 are saying we have to start not only with the basic education, but with the core values of the
Yeah.
country. Ito nga pa. And then bring in the upskilling program and bring in the connection with industry so that people will actually have work-study arrangements. Bingo. You have a workforce that is competitive.
Is that
And it's in every Filipino passport. Huh?
Oh,
We just carry it around, but we don't read it.
really?
Yes, it's in every Filipino passport. It's for core
Wow.
values.
Grabe, sayang, no? Can you share examples right now of companies who practice the maka-Diyos, makatao, makakalikasan, at makabansa? And yun nga, they don't just do it for profit, but they do it as a cause.
They mean it.
Meron
Yeah.
ba?
Oh, yeah.
Oo.
Yeah.
Ano yung naging effect? What's the
Yeah.
effect?
I can mention, for example, Cebu Land Masters, which is one of the top corporations that we have right now. They really believe in it, and they cascade it down to the last individual.
Mhm.
And they provide housing, they build communities, and so on. It's amazing. No? Union Bank is another one that really believes in it.
Right now, as we go back to one of the things that you mentioned that really preps up the economy of the Philippines are the OFWs, diba? So, what top reforms that needs to happen in our Philippine financial system to really make the OFWs inclusive and to also uplift their standard of life?
Yeah. First, we provide them guidance and direction so that their savings, hard-earned savings sent to the country, would just not just be fully frittered away
Hmm.
in consumer spending. We have to give them packages that are meaningful, by which they can save, they can invest, and they can prepare for a future that will be much more entrepreneurial.
So, where does financial literacy comes into play on this equation?
Financial literacy is I make as many Filipinos as possible conscious of the ABCs.
Ano yung ABC?
ABC, basics of savings, of finance, that you need not be afraid of the banks. They can be your partner in making your savings work for the future for you. That's really what financial literacy is.
Doc, most of the OFWs really struggles to save. Number one, because they always keep on sending money.
Yeah.
And then, number two, if they invest on the wrong things. Nai-scam sila or...
Yeah.
So, again, how can we fix this?
For example, working with developers. You want to invest in a home? Cebu Land Masters can help you. SM can help you. Those are the things that we're working now. So that, in fact, you go on the basis of the personal preferences of Filipinos. What are the first things that they want? They want to have a home of their own. They want to have a business of their own. They want to be able to send their children to school and provide for their own health and retirement. These are the four things. Easily can be provided by any insurance company, by any financial institution. So the task is how to make our financial system as people-friendly as possible, with financial institutions really providing these four basic services to our people.
Alam mo, having said that, I don't know if there's someone out watching here. You know, ano ginawa ni Dr. Jess? Binigyan na kayo ng opportunity to really create a good market. Yes, oftentimes real estate companies, that's what they do. They target the OFW market. Pero what Dr. Jess is saying, pag OFW market dapat, iba yung treatment, iba yung package, iba yung system and payment. If there's one company out there listening right now and you create a special design and pag OFW ka, itong payment terms mo. Pag OFW ka, ito yung ano mo.
Ayun.
Diba?
Yeah. And it's a big market with huge amounts of money coming into the country. Why are we not using that resource much better? And we can, if we put in the system.
So, paano natin matutulungan yung mga maliliit na negosyante na lumago rin na kanilang negosyo?
First and foremost, you already have cooperatives of MSMEs. They already exist. You have that existing, for example, in Mindanao. Why can't we simply partner with them, connect them with better financial institutions,
Yeah.
and say, hey, can we work together so that, in fact, we'll have these possible programs for OFWs and for MSMEs so that we can accompany you on the journey to becoming better. Teach you the basic of finance, teach you the basics of marketing, teach you the basics of production. Tapos.
Bigyan natin ng financial education. Turuan mo. Tapos bigyan mo siya ng capitalization.
Ayun.
'Di ba? May puhunan siya. Tapos bigyan mo siya ng opportunity para magnegosyo. 'Di ba? Tulungan mo, suportahan mo. Kasi no offense, Meta. Kadalasan kasi ng mga LGU, they just give the financing. They just give the financing. Without teaching them how to manage. Tapos, pag nakuha na yung financing, di ba, may pera na. Ang problema, susugal. Or let's say, nabibili ng Tapos, or if not naman, nakakreate sila ng business. Nakakreate sila. Pero, hindi sila marunong magbenta.
Ayun.
Hindi sila marunong mag-market. So, ano nangyayari? Nalulugi. So, hindi na sila nakakabayad. Yun yung sinasabi mo, di ba, Doc?
Yep.
How young are you?
85 years old. Huh?
Grabe. Guys, 85. This sharp. So, what legacy would you like to leave behind through your work in public, private governance, and nation building?
What I would like is to activate 3 units in the university which are called Centers for Research and Communication. What do we do with our people? Constantly upscale them and so on and so forth, proper values. What do we do with our natural resources so we can earn a lot of money out of it and preserve it for the next generation? What can we do to strengthen our financial and capital markets? If I can leave this as permanent legacies, constantly upgrading, we'll have done my job.
I hope that you're inspired. We're not just here to earn more, but for us to lead life with a purpose, use money to create an impact. Diba? Use money to be able to be a blessing to people. Use money to rebuild our nation. Diba? Okay, so right now, Doc Jess, with my humble can I share mga books ko with you?
Thank you.
This is Yayamanin book collection.
Wow.
So I'll give you an preview. Para siyang 10 commandments ba? Yan.
Ayan.
First,
Hapulubi.
Diary of a Pulubi.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah, this is about budget.
Fantastic.
Ipon, utang, negosyo, and the last, yayamanin.
Very good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Fantastic.
this is written for the Filipinos.
Yes.
So it's an easy read.
Yes,
I hope that you
yes.
will appreciate this. It's a small token
I
from me.
appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Doc. So guys, if you want to get in touch and know more about ISA, ito na yung Makajos,
That's right. That's right.
Makajos, Makatao,
Makakalikasan.
Makakalikasan at
Makabansa.
Makabansa o Makabayan. So, please just go to the website na nakikita nyo po. So, please get in touch with them. Again, please guys, kung may nagustuhan kayo dito sa episode na ito, please pour your heart out. I think this is one of the, ayaw kong sabihin to, sige na nga, this is one of my I like it personally na episode na talagang it brings us back to why we are Filipinos. Also brings us back na why we should not give up as Filipinos. Kasi yun nga, maraming mga Pinoy nagsabi, wala nang pag-asa sa Pilipinas, mag-ibang bansa na lang tayo. Doon na tayo mag-retire, doon na tayo tumira. You know what? If we have a Dr. Jess Estanislao at his age fighting, still believing, how much more kayo mga kabataan, tayo mas bata pa sa kanya, why should we give up? At yun nga, sinabi nga ni Gat Jose Rizal, ang kinabukasan ng ating bansa ay nakasalalay sa kabataan ng bayan. Sana this is a wake-up call for everyone. I hope that there will be more Dr. Justice Stanislao who will be serving our nation and being an inspiration. And if you find this video inspiring, please do me a favor. Just share this video with people. Just share this video with your friends. And I hope that this will be an awakening for every Filipino. Maraming salamat. As I always say, tamang karunungan, tamang disiplina po ang susi sa pagyaman.
Sa 10 design nilalabas namin, siguro mga 7 designs ang hindi kikita. Pero yung 3 designs na yan, pag kumita yan, bawing-bawing ngayon yung losses dun sa 7. My business is managing failure. If I have less failure, I have higher profitability.
And maraming tao would choose sweldo versus commission. Bakit?
Steady. Yung bang predictable yan. Kaya magtrabaho ko, kaya matulog ako, kaya wala akong ginawa, nag-auto cart lang ako. Andyan yung steady stream of income. What they don't understand is, it costs you a lot. One of the biggest reasons kung bakit yung mga tao ayaw pumasok sa sales,
Bakit?
the fear of rejection.
Yes.
Kako yung lang word na rejection is wrong.